Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka The Whip Show. And right now, you're railing with the World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Joe Walker.
Jon Moxley has proven himself to be a credible world champion. He has proven himself to be a singles competitor worthy of 3 world championship reigns in All Elite Wrestling. And while I have no issue with him being a 3-time champion, where I do have a slight issue is the fact that he won that title in the Tournament of Champions. With all the controversy that happened that allowed that title to be up for grabs again and made available in this tournament, I think with Jon having just held the title, AEW had an opportunity to have a fresh start. Moxley still could have been a 3-time champion, just maybe a little further down the line. Let's revisit the tournament, and I want to focus on 2 of the competitors in particular that were a part of that world title tournament. Those 2 competitors being Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara. Jon Moxley defeated Bryan Danielson to become the All Elite Wrestling World Champion for a 3rd time at the end of that tournament. Applause. Ovation. Great. But imagine if the finals of that tournament was Darby Allin versus Bryan Danielson. Kind of gives you a different picture, doesn't it? Not only that being the final, but Darby wins and becomes the AEW World Champion. Darby brings something different to the world title picture. 1, his demeanor. 2, his presentation. 3, his style. That could have allowed for some intriguing and hard-hitting matchups, but also the storytelling aspects of him defending the title against whomever his opponents were. I think it would have elevated the title to a different level, while also elevating him to another level. They say the title doesn't make the person makes the title. And I think that Darby Allin would have made the AEW World title a spectacle. He's had some good feuds. He's had some great matches. Everybody assumes that MJF is going to be the next world champion, which one of the things I have no issue with. I like Max. But imagine Max pursuing Darby for the world title. And the kind of banter you would get from Max targeting Darby. And the video responses you would get from Darby going back at MJF, building up to their match for the world title. I get chills just thinking about it. Let's flip. Imagine if the finals of that world title tournament, that Tournament of Champions, was Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara, a protege of Chris Jericho, a member of the Jericho Appreciation Society. And these 2 clash in the finals. The master and the apprentice, the student and the teacher. That alone would have been just worth watching. Just, whoa, okay. Who saw this coming? What's going to happen? How are they going to respond to each other? Are they going to be respectful of each other in the ring? What kind of match is this going to be? Are either of them going to hold back against the other? I think it would have been great. And I would have preferred for Sammy to win. Sammy is hated by a lot of people. He's loved by a lot of people too. But as the bad guy, I think Sammy does a great job of playing the consummate villain. And he does it by having a grudge, by feeling disrespected or underrated, and a number of other personal things in relation to his in-ring career and his place in All Elite Wrestling. And if he would have won the world title, imagine how he would have projected that as validation, but still have a chip on his shoulder. Imagine the opportunities it would have provided for you to put him in the ring with some veteran contenders, not just like the Pillars or some of the other young performers, but some of the veterans that will help him have matches that are a little more controlled and to really groom him to be a methodical champion. Could he have still had some high-flying matches out there against some high-flying opponents? Sure. I would love to see Sammy Guevara defend the world title in a ladder match against Dante Martin or Ray Phoenix. Can you picture it? Can you see it? I think those were two missed opportunities. Again, I have no issue with Moxley being a 3-time world champion. Again, it would have been great just a little down the line. Some people say Bryan Danielson should have been champion. Okay. I feel that. But it was an opportunity. Again, something fresh. Neither of these wrestlers have been world champions. And they're two of the young, fresh, upcoming stars in the company. And this was a chance to make them the guy. Give them the ball and see what happens. I think Darby with the title with Sting by his side. Oh, man. If they were able to create a storyline where even after the match, Jericho loses to Sammy and Sammy becomes the world champion, they're able to bury the hatchet and Jericho back him as world champion. Maybe turn on him down the line. There's a lot of intrigue there. There's a lot of story there that can be told. And then on the back burner, you're continuing to build up Jungle Boy. You continue to elevate Pac. You continue to elevate the Lucha Brothers. All these guys are title contenders. And that tournament could have set up so much for the future, a fresh future for All Elite. Moxley is the guy right now. He is. He is. I think him and Max, they could have a feud that goes on for months. And I think it'll be good. But I just feel like, just can't help feeling like we missed something. Since we're talking about Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, they all appeared on a t-shirt. Imagine what that would do for those t-shirts. If Darby or Sammy was world champion and you decided to set up a fatal 4-way for the title between the Pillars, that would have been awesome. Imagine that with Darby Allin as world champion or Sammy Guevara as world champion in a fatal 4-way match as the main event of Full Gear. The Pillars clash. Will the champion retain or will someone else win? Wow. I think the four of them considering the fact that they've been seen as the future of the company, when I had an opportunity to prove it together, all in one match, not them separately, not them one-on-one in different pairs, all of them together in one match for the world title. And the groundwork has been laid. We can't say that it hasn't. If you go back to how AEW started to where it is now, the groundwork for all four of them has been laid. We could have got there. It wouldn't have took much to build a story to get us there with all four of them in the ring for the world title. It's just something else to consider.
Thank you for listening to Railing with the World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Joe Walker, on the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka The Whip Show. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and support the platform wherever you get your podcasts from. Follow The Whip Show podcast on all social media, and follow me on Twitter at Mr. Joe Walker. No excuses. Championships only. Be kind, be creative, win.